Welcome, guys. Welcome back again to the HTG podcast. And I am your She-Wolf horror host, Slaughter Sin, She-Wolf Empress of Gore. And today we're sitting with Roxanne Stan and her wonderful coffee shop of horrors. So Roxanne, before we get started, give us a little history about how did you get started with Coffee Shop of Horrors? What was your inspiration and when did you start?
So the Coffee Shop of Horrors was actually not my idea. It was started in 1999 in Athens, Georgia. The first shop was in Gainesville, Georgia. It was opened by a friend of mine who around 2006 decided he didn't want to do it anymore and just kind of passed it on. In 2007, I took over officially and rebuilt it. By that point, it wasn't really operating. We went back to doing basically online sales, started doing local conventions like Spooky Empire, and over the past 12 years have built it back up from 12 coffees to 51. This year, now 6 weeks ago, we finally opened our full-service cafe and bakery.
Now, this is your second coffee shop. Please give us your address and tell us where you're located at and where were you located at prior.
This is our first full-service coffee shop, and we're at 17415 7th Street, Suite A in Montverde, Florida. It's a little town that as you drive in, you can actually hear the banjos playing. Our old shop was only a block away. It was only a retail location, and that was 16937 Lakeside Drive. And we still operate out of there to do packing and shipping and staging for conventions and markets.
Can you tell us a little bit about what are the things that you offer here and what makes your coffee shop so exclusive?
Before we took over, the coffee was being roasted in Georgia by one roastery. They weren't too concerned about quality or the fresh roasted aspect or that sort of thing. When we took over, we partnered up with a mom and pop operated roastery that had been operating for 35 years and switched over all the product to fair trade, single source, grade 1 organic coffees, where we actually have relationships with our plantations. Our roasters actually travel to ensure that fair trade practices are being met. The coffee is truly organic. And all of our African plantations that we buy from are all women's collectives where women are safe to work and raise their children and get an education.
So you heard it, guys. This coffee shop is also a remarkable place for knowing that your money is going to the right place and is going towards supporting these causes as well. Now, what other things do you sell besides coffee?
Outside of coffee, we also do chocolate-covered espresso beans and milk, dark and white chocolates. We do organic hand-blended teas. We do an Earl Grey, a peach tea. We do a lemon ginger organic. We have chamomile for those of you that need a little bit of help to sleep. We do a tea we call it RX Plague Ease. It's got chamomile, lemon, ginger, and licorice root. And we use that to get over colds. We make t-shirts and we make our own mugs. And then we also allow other local artists, craft makers, to display their wares in our shop and sell them as well to help them out.
And let me tell you something, guys. This place is simply amazing. It's extremely stylish and there's tons of great artwork. There's a beautiful mural on the wall and some wonderful artwork on the tiles above. Can you tell us a little bit about your artists that participate in the mural making?
We actually work with artists from all over the country, but most of them are based here in Central Florida. Probably our most used artist is Morgan Wilson of Lux Nova Studio. She's done 4 labels for us, and she also did our mural on the wall. She's our go-to girl when we need something done in a hurry. Other local artists are Mark Hadley of Hadley Studios, Mark Helwig, who is a recent transplant from Georgia. He just moved to Oviedo. Thanks for joining the club. What's it from around here? Our biggest name artist is actually a gentleman named Michael Broom. He's a concept artist for shows like Star Trek Discovery and The Orville, and he's worked on movies like The X-Men and that sort of thing. And he's actually a friend of a friend, and he's done 3 labels for us as well. We were really surprised that he donated his work, but he's turned out to be an excellent artist and an excellent friend. And other things we do, artwork to promote local indie movies, like we have a Bubba the Redneck Werewolf coffee. It's a spiced bourbon flavor, and it's actually for the Bubba the Redneck Werewolf movie, which the second one is actually in production now. And then other artists, we have tattoo artists like Mike Groves out of Athens, Georgia. He goes by Poop Bird. His artwork, please look it up. It's really fantastic. And that's really kind of it. Oh, no, let me mention one more group of people who are really awesome. It's Makeup and Creative Arts, our friends over in Ocoee. They do prosthetics and makeup, and we have a line of coffee specifically to them and their clown characters, and it's called Big Top Brews, and we have 3 coffees with them right now, a Southern Pecan, a Toasted Macaroon, and a Creme Brulee.
Once you come into the shop, you are completely submerged into a horror paradise. The artwork on these labels are simply phenomenal. It's breathtaking to see this. I feel like I'm at home. So can you tell us a little bit more about your coffees? You have such wonderful flavors. Which ones are your best sellers? Which ones are your personal faves or faves of the locals?
Bestsellers are Waffles and Syrup, our Stranger Brew coffee, and our Whiskey Butterscotch Vanilla Highlander Grog, The Quickening. And those are both local artists. The Stranger Brew is done by a girl named Vanessa, it goes by Banky, and Highlander Grog, The Quickening, is done by Mark Hadley. And then my personal favorite of our flavors is our Toasted Coconut. I was afraid I wasn't going to like that. I released it kind of on a last-minute whim right before Spooky Empire brought in the cast of Once Upon a Time, and we sold out in 2 hours. So that goes pretty well. Our most recent release is our Butterscotch Toffee Oogie Boogie's Nightmare Brew, and that has turned out to be an excellent seller on the flavored side. For the non-flavoreds, our most popular is our Colombian Supremo that we have Italian roasted. It's super dark, it's super rich, and it's got a really awesome zombie Scarface on the label.
And aside from her wonderful coffees and teas, there's also some yummy-licious desserts, some soft serve ice cream. Tell me a little bit more about your flavors, about the pastries that you offer, because you are a baker, correct?
Yes, I am. Myself and my buddy Matt Allen of Sideshow Sauces are the bakers here. He actually also makes hot sauces. We call him the Muffin Man. He makes these wonderful triple chocolate muffins, lemon poppy seed. He makes a really, really cool cinnamon toast crunch muffin that has just been flying off the shelves. I am more into breads and quiches, but I make our quiches for the shop. We collaborate on cookies and that sort of thing. As far as our soft serve ice cream goes, on a whim one day we decided to buy a soft serve ice cream maker, and we're like, well, I wonder if we can blend our coffees into it. And it turns out that you can. So then I spent thousands of dollars on even bigger soft serve ice cream machines so that I could share this with you guys. But when we run out of one flavor, what we'll do is we'll flip a coin or just make a quick decision on what to do next. I haven't been disappointed yet. This weekend I'm doing our chocolate raspberry coffee blended with a chocolate soft serve mix and our Brazilian Oberon blend dark roast mixed with our vanilla.
Say that 10 times fast, people. Can you tell us a little bit more about the events and some of your buyers, some of the participants? Where does your coffee go?
Our coffee goes to anybody from the individual. We send coffee to film crews out in California and Vancouver. Chad Rook, who's an actor that's been doing work on a lot of CW shows, we send him a bunch of coffee because he likes to give it away to his friends in the acting industry. And then we also supply local businesses, churches, private labeling for them. We do promotional labeling for businesses, and we also do labeling for weddings. We do wedding service. We'll usually get a picture of the couple to put on the bag to give away as gifts to their wedding guests, or in some cases they'll commission our artists to do fantasy versions or horror versions or whatever genre they're interested in as illustrations on their bag for their weddings.
Well, you hear it here live, guys, but your ghoulish fiends can get private labeling on the coffee or teas of your choice, and that's pretty exciting too. So if you want that nice terrorific wedding, you definitely have a place to come to get that specialty brew. Can you tell us about some of the events or shows that you've participated in?
Absolutely. Outside of the parties that we throw, because our little town of Montverde is very accommodating to us, our biggest show we do that's family to us is Spooky Empire, and they run 2 shows a year. End of October is Spooky Empire's Ultimate Horror Weekend, and in April is Spooky Empire Retro, where we go back to the 80s, to our childhoods, we're a little old, and celebrate everything about that decade. Other shows we participate in, we just recently did SuperCon down in South Florida. It was our first time there. That is a huge kick-ass show. Additionally, we started doing JekyllCon in Jekyll Island, Georgia, which has also turned out to be really welcoming and really awesome. So if you want a nice little getaway, a little island convention, that's a great place to go. And then we do Claremont Comic Con locally. That's our smallest show. And then when we can, we participate in local farmers markets like the Claremont Farmers Market or the Mount Dora Farmers Market. And we're trying to expand out there. We're trying to get into Winter Park and the downtown Orlando areas coming up probably this fall.
Sounds great. So what's the future for your business? What kind of things are you looking to do? You recently reopened your shop or started this shop in Montverde for the past 6 weeks. So what's your future plans for the shop? What's your future plans in terms of expansion or events? Anything that we should be looking forward to or we should stop by for?
For this shop, is our hometown shop. We only live 2 blocks away from here. So this is kind of our proof of concept and trying to get some standards in place before we start expansion. But next year, we're looking to expand possibly into Orlando, and we're looking to theme each new shop is going to be themed differently based on the location it ends up in. So say if we ever end up in New Orleans, it's going to be a voodoo themed shop. But I think our next one that's Orlando, I think we're going with an Addams Family Gothic theme will be our next one.
Nice. So what's up, Roxanne? What's your fascination with horror? Please tell us.
Actually, you'd be surprised. My fascination wasn't with horror. My fascination was specifically with sci-fi horror. I'm a huge Alien fan, and I, for some reason, have an unnatural love for the movie Event Horizon, even though I realize that the plot is garbage. That's more my thing. And I'm not really into the gory horror. Like, I'm not into blood spurting for the sake of blood spurting, but I do like Cube, and I did grow up watching, Friday the 13th and Jason and all of those with my friends. And, it's not so much that. It's more in the sci-fi. Like if you want to put on, Edge of Tomorrow, I'd rather watch that over Saw, but I'll still watch all 7 Saw movies with you.
Yay, I have a new horror buddy. If there is a character out there, any horror character that you can choose which you identify with, who would that be?
Wow, I wish you had asked me to think about this ahead of time. Yeah, I don't think I don't really identify with any horror characters. I do feel like I identify with one heroine, and that is Ripley from the Alien series, because her badass attitude has kept me going even when we thought that things weren't going to work out and we were never going to get this place open. And I would just watch Aliens again and just be like, all right, get your big girl pants on and let's go.
So for the out-of-towners and people that aren't remotely located to the shop, how can one place an order? Where do we find you?
All right, so you can find our website at coffeeshopofhorrors.com, and you can place your orders on there and get information about all of our products online there. And then you can also find us on Facebook at Coffee Shop of Horrors, on Twitter at CSOH, and on Instagram at Coffee Shop of Horrors. We don't do Snapchat and stuff because I feel like I might be a little too old to get that sort of thing, but you'll find us everywhere else. And please, if you're in the area or if you're coming to Disney, hoof it out. It's like about 20-30 minutes out from the theme parks. Come on up here and just pay us a visit and see where we live and join us and just come relax.
Trust me, guys, it's definitely a trip worth it. Horror Tour Guide is here live with Roxanne and the Coffee Shop of Horrors. Well, that's about it for our time right now on our horror podcast.
It's time to die, Roxanne. Say goodbye.